And welcome once again, everybody, to another edition here of the Man of Steel podcast. Well, of course, yours truly, Charles Prodigy Richey here. Which you can follow me here on social media on Twitter at Man of Steel CGR. Man of Steel podcast on Instagram is at Man of Steel Nation. Definitely getting some stuff right now. Just a recap once again. Remember, Dave DeCastro no longer is Steelers. He was released on Thursday, as we found out. And it sounded like it was a non-football injury. Said he was having ankle issues recently, and definitely could have kept him months. Question is, too, will you consider retiring as well? And now you got like the newly acquired right guard for the Steelers at this point in time, and Trai Turner here. Trai Turner, he's definitely been puzzled with a few injuries to the last 3 seasons. But like I said, the only first impressions I'm getting off this guy right now is that he could probably be a help in the running game. The only concern is right now, as pointed out by one of the many people in the media, more particular, host of 93.7 The Fan, the Pony Miller Show, and Fillipponi. You can follow him on Twitter at the Pony Express. Basically, he was found out from an insider too. More relates to Trai Turner, was that he was terrible last year. When he wasn't injured, the biggest impact he was making on games was by taking horrible penalties. Just to give you an idea. And for the most part, when we look at a guy like Trai Turner right here, who's a 5-time Pro Bowler in his career, he went to the Super Bowl with the Carolina Panthers back in 2015 when they had that 15-1 regular season record. Almost went undefeated right there, but I mean, it wasn't there. I mean, they lost the Super Bowl anyway to a very good defense and the Denver Broncos, which was Peyton Manning's last as a Bronco right there in his NFL playing career. And you saw what happened in 2015. Just to give you a sample size right there. I mean, in the run game in particular, they were second overall, racking up 2,282 yards, averaging nearly 143 yards a game, which is one of the biggest things right there. The biggest issue I take right there, too, is the sacks that have been giving up. I mean, so you got like this new wave of the offensive lines we have been looking throughout the off season, including starting from the end of 2019. I mean, there just seems to be a lot of stuff here at hand where we got to be a little bit more concerned with, because when we really break this thing down and dissect it a little bit further right now, I mean, everyone knows Ben Roethlisberger's relationship with this offensive line. I mean, and how he's able to get some chemistry going. I think the interesting thing is right now, this is going to be his second season back from elbow surgery, first full offseason of rest. Remember, him and Cam Hayward have been participating in mini camp right here. As we look at it from this standpoint, for right now, listen, I think chemistry of this offensive line is going to be huge right now as we look at things. Because one of the things we got going on right now, I mean, looking at it too, Brooke Parr was saying too, with David DeCastro's release, Steelers will have one returning star on the offensive line. Chuks Okorafor, more than likely, he's going to be moving to left tackle from a spot on right tackle last off season. Remember, left tackle that was occupied by Alejandro Villanueva. So right here, I mean, you already look at it right now. Let's break down this offensive line once again, just to remind folks, people just want to refresh their memories. I mean, you got Kevin Dotson right here. I mean, who I expect to continue to be the left guard. I think he's been the only solid, legitimate piece as far as new kids on the block, trying to protect Ben Roethlisberger, try and get some running lanes established. Obviously, I mean, he didn't do as much, but I think he did a good job. I mean, helping keep Ben protected. I mean, the Steelers were number one, the most fewest sacks allowed. So, I mean, that's a good sign. But right now, I mean, how much is a guy right now like David DeCastro, a guy who's been a 2-time All-Pro, 6 Pro Bowls, did not win a Super Bowl championship? Yes, of course, but he's been in the league 9 seasons. And we look at David DeCastro, I mean, for the most part. I mean, it has only been, I mean, the worst amount of starts he's had as a starter was last year, where he started 13 out of 13 games. And I would say that was a little bit of an eye opener. I mean, when you hear some of the stuff that he was trying to play through, I mean, especially I think with the ankles and stuff. I mean, at the end of the day, he did his job to keep him on his feet. The biggest question I did pose on the last show was that will more sacks be surrendered right now? The chemistry. But you look at it like a little bit further too. No more Marquise Pouncey right now. So is that going to be B.J. Finney or more likely Kendrick Green? And remember with B.J. Finney right there, he was a guy who fumbled the ball when Mason Rudolph was in there, had a shoulder injury, and he was done for the season at that point. B.J. Finney, I think for the most part, I mean, when we look at him too as well, I mean, Finney, I don't think was as bad. Unfortunately, I think he does have that blemish he's got to wear on him as a Steeler. And you look at him and his career here. I mean, he was last with the Bengals and the Seahawks. But still, I mean, I thought he did a decent job. I mean, for the most part. I mean, he played in 13 games in 2016. The most he's played 16 games. And in 2019, he was only able to start 4, but still, listen, I think Finney is still not a bad transitional piece for this line as we look at it. So I'd like to hear your thoughts right now. Feel free to hit me up, leave me a comment. You can also, if you guys are tuning into the Mouse Steel podcast, feel free to tune in. You can just search the Facebook page, Mouse Steel Podcast. If you guys want to leave a like, feel free. And if you guys ever want to follow it by following through an handle, you can just definitely look up at Men of Steel Nation for the most part. So that's where we're at right now as far as this goes on. And one of the questions too, I think a lot of people were looking at too, because I think the Steelers did get a little bit of hot water with not reporting Ben Roethlisberger's elbow injury right away. That was one of the things that was brought up by Ron Cook and Joe Starkey. And so I remember, I think the cap savings on this was going to be about over $8.75 million. With that release that happened. I'm going to go ahead and double check that as we go along. For the most part, $8.75 million they will be saving. He was going to be due to have a $14.3 million cap hit, just to recap, for the Steelers' salary. And now that he is gone right now, will David DeCastro challenge this right now? Will there be some sort of a hearing on this and see if they want if he's going to need to be compensated? Because if it's not football injury related, I mean, when we look at, because remember, he played for the abdominal injury last season and appeared to have recently suffered an ankle injury. And that'd be really wonderful right there. But the only thing was, when he did try fixing it a year ago, as far as the ankle, the bone spurs kept coming back. He said it nagged me pretty bad all last year. He was never on the injury report for the ankle. He was on it for knee, hand, abdomen, and not injury related. So I think the Steelers right now are just trying to be in compliance with the league, make sure they're not getting any hot water. If there's any kind of an injury, you have to report. Got to do your diligence right there. And I would anticipate that, being the case right now as we move a little bit forward on this right now for the time being. So, and like I said, I think my biggest takeaway, when we look at Trai Turner, let's just go to the flip side on that right now. He's made only 9 starts a year ago when he was last with the LA Chargers in SoFi Stadium, especially when he played in that area with the Chargers. Here's his injury history from what I looked up on Wikipedia. 2017, he missed the final 3 games due to a concussion. 2018, he missed 2 weeks and 3 due to concussion. Week 17 due to an ankle. Now, at point 2, I mean, Trai Turner, for the most part, in his NFL, career, like after his team made the Super Bowl despite losing, coming runner-up to the Broncos, and a year later, after they missed the playoffs, but following that offseason, 2017, he signed a 4-year, $45 million contract extension with $20.5 million guaranteed. He started 13 games at right guard before missing about 3 games with concussion. As I mentioned, he did return in the wild card round of the playoffs. But still, he earned his second consecutive Pro Bowl in 2016. And definitely he was one of the most respected guards in the league right there. And, definitely a guy at the top of his game. Like I said, I only get concerned with right now, is Ben Roethlisberger going to feel comfortable? Is he going to be able to adapt right now? You still got question marks too across this offensive line right now. Zach Banner, which, by the way, too, he got injured in the very first game of the season, with the Steelers, basically. And, yeah. You gotta wonder if this guy could be able to stay healthy. For the most part. When we looked at, when he suffered a knee injury in the opener on the road against the Giants. I like his enthusiasm. I like his drive. Don't forget, he did beat out, by the way, too, for that position, I think Chuk's a core for that tackle position, right tackle. I like his effort. I love his drive, but he still hasn't really proven much to me just yet. Availability is going to still be very key for this guy right here. Alejandro Villanueva, say what you will. Some of the funky stuff, the last few years, as far as doing stuff as a team on the field. And no offense, I love Alejandro Villanueva, very respected, but he also got the sense though too, people kind of took him for granted. In my opinion, I really do feel like he was taken for granted for what he did on this offensive line. He was definitely very key. Obviously, he didn't really help much with the run game, but that's going to be a guy that's going to be hard to replace, in my opinion. We'll see how they do right there. But I think the hugest one definitely is to be without life without Marquise Pouncey right now. Not just for Ben Roethlisberger, but whoever steps in as a quarterback, whether it's Mason Rudolph or Dwayne Haskins. That's quarterback battle. We're going to find out this preseason how it relates. Who'll be the number 2 guy on the depth chart behind Big Ben. So my final takeaway and thoughts right now. Listen, I don't think the Steelers did do DeCastro dirty. At the same time, if anything, listen, it's a lot of pressure right there. You don't want to be missing games. I can understand from that standpoint, but how much was he hiding and not opening up to Coach Mike Tomlin and, of course, medical and training staff on that team? So did he slit his own throat in a way? Quite possible. We'll see. But hopefully he'll be able to get a successful surgery. I would like to see him have a few more years left. Too bad for right now. It's not going to be with the Steelers. So let's go ahead and start moving on right now with this, because I do like Trai Turner. I think Trai Turner will be an immediate impact with the run game, but protecting Ben Roethlisberger, let's find out.
Hey, you blink, I'll cut your eyelids off. Don't you blink. I got you. Let's go.